Mr. Shively, I'm sure that you recall that a few weeks ago there was an ordinance, an amendment given to an ordinance of the city, number 12228, that has aroused the Negro community, wherein before our community was rather unresponsive to many of the ordinances. We have now become adamant. And I'm wondering if you could tell us why it is that we black people are rather adamant about this new ordinance.
First of all, we see this ordinance as a law within a law now. And hadn't we protested, it would have been the 2 millionth law, which we need new laws like a hole in the head. Because God knows how many we have already. And this originated from, say, 1925 to 1960. What's the need? And then with these all undue powers, we speak of contrabands. I wonder if that means the press. The American deem whatever he deems necessary. Does that mean that stop the press? Or it's come down to this, stop search and seizure? Or after a while, you'll be walking around and say, let me see your pass. I mean, it's an unneeded thing. It's a hurting thing. And whoever dreamt it up, you know, it's obvious in who it was shot at, and it's not needed. Like I say, it's the same soup warmed over.
Do you think, therefore, that the black community resisted because, in some sense, we feel that we're being made little of, we were not asked? Well, why do you think that the black community was even asked?
Well, they weren't asked.
Go ahead.
They weren't asked, and well, like was just said today. Okay, Texas and Oklahoma playing today. They got in town. They found everything boarded up. All the windows were boarded up. Well, right away, what would they think? Well, this ordinance is built solidly against us, and there you go. You'd have a kickback. Sure, you have a kickback, and these insurrections that we're having city after city, and if they were the whites, well, God knows the grievance would have been looked into, and something would have been done about it. But as it is, somebody doesn't want to get involved.
Dr. Hunter, you have been in Dallas for a while, and you have a good background in history. And could you tell us of some incidents in the past you know in Dallas of black people becoming insurrectionists?
No, I have no information about black people in Dallas becoming insurrectionists by any means. But if I may respond to the earlier questions, I would suggest that the Negro community feels that this ordinance was directed at the Negro community. And personally, in my own mind, I have little doubts that this is the case, that that the ordinance was directed at the Negro community. It was prepared with the Negro community, or the black community in mind, whichever you prefer. And I think this is why they're up in arms about it.
The beginning, one of the reasons of the ordinance at the beginning, is here, and I quote, it says, whereas in case of a riot or any unlawful assemblage, the mayor, with a view to preserve peace and good order in the city, is authorized by Article 996. It also says that the governing body of a city shall have the power to suppress and prevent any public disturbances. Now, do you think that those two verbs, suppress and prevent, are loaded verbs? Do you think that this is a government that's concerned with too much after effect rather than doing something about something, so they wouldn't have to worry about effect?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do, but I think also that public disturbance is not well defined in the first place. And then when the emphasis is upon suppression instead of upon prevention, then we have more, it seems to me, more emphasis toward police state rather than toward orderly government. And this seems to me to be somewhat objectionable and may well be part of the reasons that the black community is up in arms about the ordinance.
Do you think that the definitions, for example, of public disturbance is clear enough? Or do you think they're clear enough, these definitions? I recall some of them saying that a public disturbance, any riot, affray, noise, disturbance, or disorderly assembly in any public or private place within the city. What do you think of that, Mr. Shively?
Oh, definitely not. It is very vague. Like they even say private, the private place. That means home. When we speak of militancy, that means because one's on the corner talking, what we call militancy. Does that come into that form? And go back to the cost. Just think of the cost to deploy such an action, to set up something what they're going about doing. How about the preventive? It's an old saying: cheaper to prevent than it is to cure. But here, as we're putting our priorities in the wrong spot again.
What do you think about what the government or city council could have done, or what the city could do to prevent? Could you have some sort of suggestions?
Oh, well, speaking of ordinance, well, this we got, I say from downtown, it's a copy from other cities, you know. Well, all right, here's a good ordinance. Look at Newark. 5th day of March, all schools are closed. You know what the ordinance is? It's a holiday. For whom? For a black hero. And if you mention his name, of course, a lot of people won't know it. The young man in Boston. Remember the young man in Boston, the first act?
Yeah, what's his name?
Christopher Addicks.
Yeah.
That's Christopher Addicks Day for all school kids in the whole city of Dallas. I mean, the whole city of Newark. Now, that would be a beautiful ordinance, and this is what we need. This is what we need, not things of this type. This here is it's rather belligerent for thinking people, to put upon thinking people.
You feel, therefore, that really what's happening here is that we're indignifying black people. We're distrusting them. We're telling them that we're not capable, perhaps, of giving you good housing and housing ordinances, but we are capable of telling you that you're not able to stay out of riots and stay out of protests and all the rest. Do you think that's a proper assignment of values, Dr. Hunter?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't. That doesn't say much, though, in terms of an answer. I would suggest, though, that there are a number of areas in which the city could operate that would make some of these ordinances unnecessary, it seems to me. As a matter of fact, I think the emphasis should be less on ordinances, really, and more on municipal involvement in the life of the community in various areas of human relations, so that ordinances would be unnecessary. But when it comes to passing ordinances, there are ordinances on housing, ordinances regarding human relations, various aspects of intergroup relations that ordinances could be passed, which would probably be favorable to most of the population. It would be much better than ordinances that are designed to suppress.
I should think so. What would you like to say about that?
Well, I'm thinking about England. If we could just take a page from their history, 400 or 500 years all over the world, this thing used to be the sun never sets on our soil. But those 400 or 500 years, they were policing, not teaching. Had they been teaching, they'd been, I dare say, the most admired country of the world today. But as it is, they're back on their little island and just enemy after enemy. And we need that, like a whole need.
Yeah. Do you think that it'd be better in some sort of way if the city government were able to speak to the black community and have the black community speak to it, or in some sense consult us, rather than this sort of indirect, backhanded way of setting up laws? What do you think? What would you suggest to the city government now, the black community?
Involve black thinking, because You can only be black because you're black, and it's an age-old thing. All Chinese are making rules. They're thinking of Chinese, not Jews, not whites, not Germans, not Catholics. They're thinking of Chinese, and so consequently, when they make these rules and these suggestions, they're all in the vein of Chinese. But let there be black there. Then when they look down the table and see, oh, what are we going to do about him? When they say, what about him? That means all the other blacks in the street too. But as it is, it's been a way of life. When they're making rules, out of sight, out of mind.
There's a general feeling that the establishment is not interested in the black community except to protect itself from it. Do you think that in some sense the black community ought to respond and stand up for itself?
Yes, I'm a firm believer in the participation of all peoples in the city in the decision-making process, and I think black people are as much a part of the city as all other people are, and they ought to be involved in this. I think there is a need for stimulation of the black community to become involved in issues that affect black people as well as those issues that affect the city as a whole. And I think also that involvement in these various processes will at the same time serve as a stimulation for these people.
I think that's interesting. Perhaps there's a general feeling among the establishment that this is just going to stimulate the Negro just for now, and after a while it's going to wear down. What do you think that the black community can do to continue this kind of protest? We certainly feel it, there's no doubt about that. Mr. Shively, do you think that there's anything we can do now that the ordinance has already been issued?
Oh, definitely. As we know, we have petitioned in person, and with petitions being gathered, and with mass meetings in regards to the legality of the ordinance and the insult of the ordinance and the why of the ordinance, I dare say something shall come out of it with the help of those that helped to create it, and with our help, I dare say.
Yeah. Dr. Hunter, what do you think that the black community can do to respond to this?
Well, I think the black community should, first of all, communicate its feelings to the establishment, I should say really to the city council, the responsible agency in the city. It should communicate its feelings to the community at large. It should draw upon all of the resources available to it to wage a concerted effort against such an ordinance. It should give full expression to the feeling that this is somewhat derogatory against the black community, because when it is intended or aimed at the black community per se, this in a sense is derogatory.
Yes.
And it should call upon, or should form coalitions with all other like-minded groups, black, white, brown, whatever the case may be, until they have realized, or until we have realized the aim which we seek. And this, I would venture, would be the appeal of such, or I should say the repeal of such ordinance.
I think in every way we ought to look forward to a real, live, vital, and strong thrust against an ordinance at this, such as this, that judges and actually insults and indignifies the black community such as this has. And I'm looking forward to working with you, brethren, and attempting just this. Thank you very much for your coming here today.
Thank you.
Mr. Dockery, we're especially happy to talk with you today because at the making of this film and at this interview, you have just got into the papers for asking the repeal of the ordinance from the NAACP. You're aware, of course, the NAACP has been spoken about from many different directions. From the militant side, rather, you have been conceived of as a middle-of-the-road There's a word called honky lover, etc. From the side of the more traditional people, you have been a person that worked a little slow, but still you made the grade, and somehow you're in a castle up on a hill. And it's always good to talk with someone in the NAACP because of its great heritage and the tradition of defending the black man. Today we're particularly concerned about the reason you're in the papers, the ordinance. And would you like to speak generally to the problem of the ordinance of 12228?
Yes, I would first like to express my appreciation to the staff of Channel 13 and the other citizens of the community who has made this program possible. I think it's very much needed, and I'm hopeful that it will continue. And to address myself to the other part of your statement and question, that of course the NAACP over the years have been traditionally in the forefront of the fight for human rights of all citizens. And we continue in this vein of championing the rights of all citizens. But to deal with the grassroots, the NAACP is very much in the fight. I am presently preparing now to go into Galveston, Texas, where we are dealing with a problem of a supermarket and the molesting of people on the street by police officers. We are dealing with the grassroots people across this entire region. We also dealing with other problems that take on a more sophisticated, legal, complicated air. To this end, we are always dedicated for all citizens, regardless to the spectrum. And of course, we have found that the course we have followed the past 58 years have been a good course. We have accomplished much, and we still have much to do. Dealing with the local ordinance, Ordinance 12228, of course, we have asked through the release of our press conference a repeal of the ordinance. We are officially requesting this from the City Council by official letter, and we are certainly going to deal with this matter as it is now a matter of law.
What, in your opinion, Mr. Dockery, are the problems regarding this ordinance? What are their implications?
Well, there are a number of implications in the ordinance. First of all, it implies being very vague in a number of its expressions, terms, and definitions, yet it carries with it some implications that no person is secure under certain conditions, even in his home, from invasion of privacy, from the confiscation of legally acquired goods, or any other proper status he might be in.
Mm-hmm. Earlier you said you wanted to talk to a certain section of this ordinance, and I will read that section. It's the one on curfew. A regulation requiring withdrawal of persons from streets, highways, alleys, sidewalks, vacant lots, parks, public buildings, or any other public places in all or a delineated part of the city during the stated hours when it is in effect. What did you want to say about that section of the ordinance?
Well, certainly this is quite a section that is of great concern. First of all, I can envision the mass arrest of ministers and their congregations on Sunday morning should they find themselves in a curfew area when it has been declared a curfew. I'm certainly concerned about this, where there is certainly traditionally in our country church services on Sunday morning, and can you imagine a mass arrest of all these holy people being carted off to jail for having church service?
I imagine a holy protest. What do you think about the ministry and its responsiveness to this ordinance? Do you think that perhaps there might be a challenge that you can make to them at this point? Or do you think there's enough of an emphasis upon the ordinance made by the ministry and the churches?
Well, I certainly feel that once the general public, including the ministry and the church-going public, realizes the implications of this ordinance, they too will be concerned and hopefully become involved in working for its repeal.
That sounds interesting, and we can get it going. You wrote, at least you were quoted, we can't always be certain nowadays that what you said is to be quoted, but you're quoted in the Dallas Times Herald, September 1368, that you said the following, that the ordinance does not tend to create harmonious relationships. It carries implications that could be very easily led to undesirable situations. Now, what do you mean by this?
Well, certainly, this is a situation of grave concern and moves into the area of human relations. I feel from the consensus of people that I've talked to on the street, in the various communities, in the various shopping and gathering places, the attitude is one of less respect now for the city fathers than heretofore they had. That they feel, I've had a man tell me just yesterday, he said, well, I consider myself uneducated. And I say, what's the extent of your education? He said, I have no education. I spent 1 year in school. He says, but I don't like that city ordinance because I think they are hitting at me.
It appears, Mr. Doctor, from your last statement, that the ordinance has created a worse situation than it certainly tried to avoid, and that actually it's done more to simmer and cause protest and riots than it has done to try to halt it or stop it. And it appears, of course, that most persons in the black community who were not aware of the problem of riots before have now unified themselves into one mind to become aware of riots and their resistance against one common enemy, that is the city council. Do I see that correctly?
Well, I would see it in this regard that across the community I've gotten this kind of a question. What have they done about integrating the schools? You remember just this past summer we had reports that they had segregated graduation ceremonies in Dallas. What have you done about the open housing ordinance? The city has failed to move on this matter. What have you done about better homes for the minority group and indigenous people? These are the questions they are throwing to me, and I'm trying to field them as best I can, but I can't answer for the city fathers. I merely have to state the facts as they are and state the situation as I see it. So from this, I get the impression from these people that these are the issues that they are concerned with, and they are most disturbed and feel insulted over this ordinance, that instead of an ordinance, they should have moved in these other areas. And this is the thing that the community is really asking for.
As well as the fact that they're realizing or they're believing that the government, or the city council, is a group of sitters, ivory tower people, who don't really know what's going on and can't do very much about what's going on. If they knew about it, they wouldn't do it anyway, of some sort. Do you think that the black community is the only one that's aware of this? Is there any reason to believe that any other community is also adamant?
Well, certainly we have reason to believe and, in fact, know that other sections of the community are very much concerned about this. I get numerous calls from all sections of the community, and particularly from the white community, expressing their concern about this ordinance and their appreciation for our position on the repeal of the ordinance.
Speaking of the repeal of the ordinance, and this is what particularly interests us today because of your column in the paper, you said there that we are hoping to provide channels and processes that would be best for the community. Could you clarify this a little bit more, what you mean by the channels and processes? You spoke of repeal, but would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, very definitely. We asked for a repeal of the ordinance, which means that we know now from our consensus of opinion from across the community that the community does not want this kind of an ordinance thrown at it. Certainly not. The next point is that we are certainly considering the channels that would be provided as a basis of the ordinance being read into law as far as the city of Dallas is concerned. And since it has now become law, the channel must necessarily be one of law to approach any type of repeal. And so we are going to use the legal processes to work for its repeal.
Well, that is certainly the responsibility and the privilege of a citizen in a democracy. And I'm hoping that all success will issue from it. Thank you.
Well, of course, you know that on this, as we do in all cases, we never take a case under consideration for a repeal or redress of grievances, that we do not prepare ourselves to go to the Supreme Court if necessary. And we have made no less preparation in this case.
Well, that's something to look forward to. We are very grateful that you are taking this course. Well, the NAACP, I think, will have very much more promise in the future. Thank you very much.
And thank you.